Today, I am not alone on this episode. I am accompanied by my gorgeous mother. Her name is Giselle with an R. And today we're going to be talking about her story on how she transitioned from being a full time teacher of 20 years of experience into a new career of PNC. Ready? Let's get started.
Okay, let's go.
So, first of all, before we get into it, how about you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your background as a teacher? How long have you been teaching? And what is your specialty?
Okay, so I am an English as a second language teacher for more than 22 years. I had taught from sixth grade to master's degree in different universities and schools in Puerto Rico and in Florida. For the last 3 years, I have been looking to transition into something different because teachings have become very, very hard. Victoria started thinking the same thing, changing from her marketing experience into something new. Last November, Victoria transitioned into PNC, and I was listening to her and throughout her training, and she was telling me all the time, Mom, you don't want to be a teacher anymore. You're tired of being a teacher. You have always been good with people and with sales, because I used to do sales a long time ago. And so she said, you'll be great in PNC. And I said, okay, let me see how things happen to you. And then I started seeing how successful she was. And then as she was already working, she received a call from the company I work at right now. And she says, listen, I already have a job, but my mom is a teacher trying to retire from teaching, and she's interested in PNC.
Yeah, that is a very interesting story. How you actually got your first job. She wasn't even applying. It was something that I had applied to long time before I landed my job in my current agency,
Mm-hmm.
and they emailed me for an interview. And I said, listen, I already have a job. I'm very happy. I'm actually in the same company, but with a different agent in a different state. But I will recommend my mom. She's a teacher and she's looking to transition out of teaching. And then I received an email back from the lady saying, well, I can at least talk to her. And from there, I set everything up, gave her number, email, contact, and everything. I said, okay, Mom, the ball's in your court. I need you to call this lady, set up a phone screening, and let's see where it goes. And let's talk about that. How was the interview process?
Well, basically, let's just go a little bit back. Um, I was scared. I didn't know if I was going to be successful, or if I really wanted to go into PNC. And so the lady called and hung up, didn't leave a message. And then Victoria said, Mom, she must have called you already. And then I said, well, I have a 512 number here. And then she pushed me. You need to call them. You need to call them. I was like,
She said, well, why would she not leave a message? Why would I call her back? And I'm like, I don't know what their process is, but you need the job, so call them and set up an interview. And then you had your phone screening because she answered right away.
she answered right away. And so we start talking, and we hit it off really from the start. And she says, but in reality, I'm just a screening person, but my boss had to interview you. Okay. So I went to from a pre-screening, talking to who's my boss today, and she was like, "Oh, I know, da 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 da, likes you very much, but you don't have any PNC experience." And I said, "Well, let me tell you something. I used to sell electronics back in the days."
So back in the day, before you even were in teaching, you were 13 years working in retail for Radio Shack. And
Oh, don't say things like that. People are gonna think I'm very
well,
old.
no, but everybody knows what Radio Shack is. It's like the OG electronics store, and you went all the way to management. You were there for 13 years,
No, for 14 and a half years.
14 and a half years, and then you had me, and then your priorities started to change.
Absolutely. Then that's when I decided to become work in education, whatever the position was, and I end up coordinating.
And why was that? Why did you choose education?
Because when you have a little child, you want to have the same, when they go to school, you want to have the same days off as your child so you can have quality time with your child. So when you are in education, a teacher or in an education area, you have the Christmas, Thanksgiving, spring break, summer break. And so I decided that was the way I wanted to go, and that's what I did.
I just want to make an honorable mention that we forgot to say why we're wearing these shirts. At the time of this recording, we were watching the FIFA World Cup and we were proudly representing Argentina. And Messi, you are the best. If you ever see my videos, that would be a great honor. And that's why we're wearing these jerseys.
And you all know we are not Argentinians.
We're not. We're Puerto Rican. By the way, FIFA World Cup, Women's Cup next year, Puerto Rico's gonna be represented as a formal team in the women's FIFA selection. And we
In
are
Brazil,
very,
in
very
Brazil,
proud. And we're gonna see if we can go over there and cheer on our women in Puerto Rico.
always
Yes, mujeres
power to
al poder.
women. Yes.
Anyway, back to the episode. So you chose education because it favored the schedule when you have a little kid.
Hmm.
And then you were in education for a long time, most of my life, if I
Yes,
remember.
I guess last class was last March.
Yeah, so that's almost 30 some, no, 20
No,
some
20
years.
some years. Yes,
Yeah,
let's
20
not say
some
how many.
years
Yeah.
because you started when I was very little, like in preschool or something. And so your schedule then started to change. And when you were teaching last, you were working all hours of the day. You almost had like a nurse's schedule where you were working shifts in the morning
And
and
in
then at night
exactly.
just to make ends meet.
Hmm.
So can we talk a little bit about that? Because I am sure that my community would love to know what it is, the struggle of a teacher. And I know if you're in my community, you're a teacher, you see yourself in this story.
Yeah, so unfortunately, teachers are not that well paid. They are paid, but it's not like you can have one career unless you have, um, hopefully, a partner that makes a lot of money or makes good money. But in my case, as a single divorced mom, I had to work 2, 3 jobs to make sure that my little girl here will have everything she needed. And it lasted all the way until last March. However, I've been thinking for the past 6 years, I was like getting tired of this, and we were living in Florida, so it's a little bit hard when you have to like work in a school until 3 o'clock, sometimes 5 o'clock, and then run to the other job.
That
Um,
started at 6.
that started at 6. And I've been doing it for so many years that you get used to it. But at one point, you get irritated because you say, why do I have to work all these hours? I'm not having quality of life. But at the same time, as a teacher, you start looking, and I started researching, what can I do as a teacher?
You even looked into project management,
I
right?
looked into project management. And I took the course in Coursera. Um,
And you did payroll too,
and I did payroll. I am certified in payroll, but nothing seemed to pin. No one would call me.
because you didn't have the experience. You had the certificates, but you didn't have the experience, and so no one would call you.
Exactly. And although as a teacher you have transferable skills to project management, because a lot of the things that we do, like planning and talking to parents, there are many skills that you just transfer, but the industry will not accept a teacher, and I didn't have the opportunity to be taken seriously as a project manager position.
Speaking of transferable skills, what transferable skills do you think you would have from teaching into sales and specifically PNC? Because I know that there are a lot of transferable skills that you have that you execute when you're on your day-to-day job as a PNC licensed producer.
Well, first of all, it's when you are a teacher, you're kind of a salesperson because you have to sell your skills and your material to the students, to the parents, to administration, and they're not always the most easiest person to deal with.
Yeah, you do have to like de-escalate a lot of things in
Absolutely.
teaching, especially. But that's also true in PNC with objection handling. It would be a type of descaling.
Yeah, the only difference is that when you work in PNC, you get shut down easier, faster. And then when you start, just to be honest with everybody, it's not an easy transition because, first of all, you have to work with a lot of different knowledges that you don't have. You have to bind, and it could take almost a month, and then the company is pushing you to finish, to finish, to finish, to finish.
To meet your goals.
No, to start binding, which is basically closing sales. But you don't have the experience. Someone like me is the best person to have because you can mold, but not all the companies. My company gave me a lot of tools. They send me into a 3-day training, but still, it's not the same when you're in a training as when you're right there talking to people, calling every day, texting people, answering emails.
So,
It's
for
not the same.
everybody's context, how would you say the learning curve is? Like from what your experience, I know you said it's a little bit difficult. So, would you say that sales is a little bit difficult in the beginning if you don't have the experience?
I thought that my company was better prepared, but in reality, Victoria's company did teach her um, the whole process, and she was able to shadow people. So not all the companies want to spend all this time. It's like you have to do it on your own. Fortunately for me, one of my colleagues, which she has like 36 years of experience, I talked to her once and I said, listen, I'm thinking here. I want to sell, but I don't know the processes that well. I need help. And she says, you know what? I'm in a group with the customer service lady, and she helped me, but she has to deal with so many calls every day that I feel sorry for her trying to ask her questions. So this senior person decided to enter into our three. It
Into
became
the
a three
group.
into the group, and it became three of us. And since then, I have been able to close more sales. Let's say that her name is Susan. Okay, so
Hi,
Susan,
Susan.
Susan, I put the customer on hold, and then so she told me what to do. I can screen share where I am, and then she taught me what to do and where to do it. I'm still learning. I've been there since April 23rd, so it's this May, June, July 23rd will be 3 months. Um, and I am feeling comfortable basically in the last week or so. So it takes time for someone that is transitioning. And teachers are probably the best people because we're used to change. We used to get a new system and we had to learn the new lesson planning, the new platform, the new programs. And so we're good at that. But the difference is that in the Department of Education, in the schools, you have a mentor that is there with you all the time.
Okay, now let's go back to a little bit in the beginning. I remember when you were watching me do my job because I work remote. But I remember in the beginning when I first suggested it to you, it wasn't an easy thing. It wasn't an easy transition for you. You were apprehensive at first about the change. And you were thinking about how you had invested in courses and how you didn't find success and you were thinking about not doing PNC. Can you walk us through what made you change your mind, or what were you struggling with? Because maybe someone that's watching this episode is also struggling on why to get into PNC or whether or not to get into PNC. And obviously the object of this episode is to guide people whether or not PNC is right for you. So could you walk us through what were you thinking when I
Well,
first suggested it?
Well, I am a person that I need security, financial security. And so the worst thing for me is not to be able to cover my bills. So what was more scary, and it's probably scary for a lot of people, is okay, I'm going to transition. And when you transition, you have to start at the bottom. So some of these companies give you a base. Some of them want you to go full commission. Never go full commission because it takes you at least 3 months for you to be able to start selling. Like in my first month, I did sell, okay, and now in this third month, I am a lot higher. So
Yes.
it's a process that if you are in 100% commission, you are not going to be able to pay your bills. You're going to go
Yes.
crazy.
And I did talk about that in my pros and cons video. I'm going to pop it right here. You can go ahead and check it out where I go pros and cons of 100% commission versus having a base salary. And basically, yes, if you don't have a cushion, if you don't have support, it's very hard to actually be financially secure if you're 100% commission versus having a base salary.
Not only that, when the base salary that they give you is so low
Yes, a
because
lot of companies is very low. State Farm made me an offer of 25,000 per year as a base, and that's very low. That's not
that's a
even close to what I make.
not only that, it's that's not even what minimum wage, maybe.
It's not minimum wage. No, minimum wage is like 27,000. No.
I, I don't
Let
know.
us know in the comments. Is it 27? Is it 30? What's minimum wage?
Anyway, so yes, you're going to start with a low pay, and that's another thing you need to think. What helped me was that Victoria says. So there's another part of the story is the fact that we wanted to move out of Florida,
We did
and
because the inflation was very high in South Florida, and every year our rent would increase and increase. We were ended up paying close to $2,600 in rent for
our check was
two bed
going. Our checks were going basically,
to the
great part
rent.
to the
Yeah,
rent.
we worked outside, so that's another thing that we had to invest. And you worked outside almost 12 hours a day, and
Yeah,
I worked outside, normal hours like 9 to 5 or something. But it took a while to get there, to drive going and drive back, and the investment in clothing and lunch and all that goes into a regular job. So that brings me to my next question. You worked outside of your house for years. How has working remote has changed your life and your work life balance?
well, what can I say? It's been a challenge to work from home. It's what I always dreamed to have. That's one of the reasons why I went into PNC because I just decided that I wasn't going to work outside anymore. It's so much energy into having to get up in the morning and prepare for breakfast, lunch, dinner when I was working like two jobs. So I decided that I want to cut that. It's much more relaxed, getting up in the morning, preparing breakfast, feeding the girls, feeding the babies. And then, boom, go right into your computer. You turn it on before you even start, get that rolling. And then you go, you make your coffee, you come back, you have breakfast. And then in my case, I have 1 hour lunch. I can take 30 minutes and 30 minutes later. I have flexibility if I have a doctor's appointment, which is another thing that I wanted. So I can just go to the doctor in the middle of the afternoon, come back, and then I can stay longer to make up for my 8 hours. Most of the time, she's just always scolding me because since I've been used to work for so many hours, staying on to 7 or 8, it really doesn't make a difference to me.
She just stays later, which I do not recommend.
She doesn't.
I don't. If you have a remote job, it's still a job, okay? So it's 9 to 5 or whatever it is. Stick to that schedule because you're going to create a bad habit towards your boss or your agency owner, and they're going to take advantage of you because they are not going to pay you more.
Hmm.
They are just going to say, oh, I can squeeze whatever I can out of this person because they're just going to stay longer. And at the end of the day, I'm the one who stands to benefit. And they'll go home, or in this case, turn off the computer and move on about their day and have dinner with their family while you're still stuck plugged in. So don't do that. I did that in the beginning too,
Hmm.
and I would find myself with a bad habit. My agency owner really enjoyed it, really liked it, but then I would be burnt out. I would be hungry. I would be cranky. At one point, I was coming in late, and then she told me this, and I told her I came in late because I was working until like an hour later the previous day, and she told me, "Well, I don't know who told you to do that." And that was a slap in the face. It was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that, and I made it's a personal rule. I do not do that.
Yeah, but you can always work out with them. Like with my boss, I do. I do work. Like I said, I can just cut in the middle of the afternoon when the time is low, and do whatever I have to do, and then come back and then work until 7, which is one of the things that I am going to start working this week, because a lot of my customers ask me like, can we talk at 4? Can we talk at 5? Can we talk at 6? Can we talk at 7? So I'm going to try that this week and see how it works out for me.
What about the job? Do you actually enjoy?
Oh,
There are challenges, and you
in
face
every
them
job,
in
yeah.
every job. There's challenges, especially something that you're switching for something completely different and that you didn't even know. You did not know this world even existed. I know I didn't when I started. So, what parts of the job do you actually, enjoy, that you have fun?
I have fun with everything.
Sales are fun. Sales is fun because it's very competitive, and it's like gamification. It's not really
Yes.
boring like these other corporate jobs, but go ahead.
That's probably why I stay late, because I enjoy doing it.
And you want to win. That's the thing too.
Exactly. And so I try to do the best and to create those sales, because we get leads. Um, but we have to be able to get in touch with them, and that they say yes, we can talk at this time. And sometimes you call them and then they do not answer the
Oh, they'll give
phone.
you a time like call me after hours, and then they don't answer.
So that's why she says do not stay longer.
Exactly. And don't make appointments on Saturdays either. The customer will tell you, "Oh, I am so busy on the week, and I cannot, I can only talk Saturday." I did that, and I wasted a Saturday because my
Yeah.
customer did not answer me. I called him the whole morning, and that's my weekends are sacred. So if I have to work on a Saturday, I am not a happy person. So
Oh, she's not. Believe me, she's not. I leave the house. Yesterday I wasn't here all day.
I worked yesterday.
Oh my God. I don't want to deal with her. It's horrible.
so
I leave the
I
babies with her.
so I don't make appointments. I don't make exceptions. If you gotta, I'm gonna catch you. Like I told my one customer, they were like, "Well, I work during the week," and I'm like, "Sir, this is my job. I work in the week too. What are you gonna do?"
I don't know. I don't know. For me, it's exciting because it's something new. For me, it's exciting because I'm learning so many processes. I have learned so much about the insurance industry, and it's different in every state. When I talk to Victoria, she says, well, that's not in Connecticut, that's not the way we do it. And
No.
then I say, well, in Texas, that's not the way we do it.
Yeah.
So even when you work with the same companies, it doesn't matter,
Oh,
because
she'll have products that we don't have in Connecticut.
and there's other ways, other things that she has more freedom to work to. Like if I have a high rate for a customer, she can go to another carrier. I
Yes.
cannot go to another carrier unless it's turned down. Another thing is, so when I moved to Texas, oh, so I forgot to tell you. So the interview went then to the manager owner, and then she says, well, you know what? Before I make you an offer, I would like for you to talk to my coach.
Oh, that's right. You had another. I forgot about that. You had one more interview
I
to
had
go.
3.
It was like her mentor and her coach who then later coached you in sales, right?
Exactly.
That they paid for your trip to Dallas.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I went and I had this third interview, and he loved me. And he said, you know what? You have an advantage over all of us. You speak Spanish, and we are losing a lot of the customers, the Spanish speakers. And so what my boss did was that she had to get credit for the Spanish speakers.
Oh yeah, my boss too. When she didn't have Spanish speakers, that's one of my questions that I had listed. Is do you think you have an advantage over other producers because you speak Spanish, another language?
Um, I definitely have an advantage, but since the agency did not had that capability before me, so not many customers know that they have someone that speaks Spanish. Now she opened it, and they say it says that you have a Spanish speaker. So I get a lot of customers from other locations. I remember one time that I said, just give me a second. And I called the agency. Oh my God, they got
Oh
really
my
mad.
God,
And I
you
said,
did
you have a
that.
customer that speaks Spanish, and you sign this customer, and he's calling, and he's not getting anyone to answer his calls. And this is the name of the customer. And I'm going to tell him he's going to call you back. So please take care of this customer of
Wow.
yours. And then I had,
That's hot. My boss is always encourages us and asks to ask the customer, "Are you happy with your agent?" And then we can take them from the other agent and have them transfer to our agency. And I've had like two or three customers who have been happy with my service, in English and Spanish, because you
mhm.
will be surprised how many agencies that they're not happy because they don't pick up the phone, or they're whatever, or what that happened to you with your customer, and you can have them transfer over to your agency. and
Yeah,
and you did that, didn't
I
you?
did that, and at the beginning I didn't get, and I was frustrated because I said, "Oh my God, I was supposed to get at least 20%." I says, "Okay, if I get twenty
Yes.
percent,
Oh, that's another thing. So they say that because you speak Spanish, you should get
20%
20%
of the
of the
business."
business.
But in
Yes.
reality, at this point, I really don't have that 20%.
Well, not yet.
Yeah,
You've
it's too
only been
early.
3 months.
3 months, and it's not really 3 months because the first 2 weeks or a
But you were
month
in training
I
in the
was in
first month.
training, although they don't care, and they take the first day from the
As your
beginning.
Yeah, they count your first day as like the beginning of.
Exactly, which I don't think is fair,
It's
but
not,
it's the
no.
industry.
And this I cover the whole process in this video right here if you want to go ahead and check it out, or you can go ahead and check out my playlist of the insurance playlist. I go through all of these steps. So to that point, yes, it does take approximately 3 months to get really good in to get used to
To like flow.
flow. Yes, because if you remember this video that I did right here where I talked about how I did 19 sales, that was on my third month, and that was like my biggest month. And you did a really big sale
This week,
this week where you sold
5 items
5 items, and that
to
was a
one
total of
person. To
$12,000
one person.
in in that one person with sales. Remember, guys, that I told you that that one person can have 5 items, and that's a really big sale. You see, it happened to her.
Yeah, but it was
How long did it take you?
from the beginning of July until this 15, which
So
is
15 days
15 days.
basically.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't expect the sale because when I talked to her, she says, well, my husband said no. I'm not going to put yourself in that position, but if your husband decides to change, let me know. But you need to bring your home in order for me to do something else, because this
For the
was
bundling.
for the bundling. So if you have home and auto, you get a bigger discount.
So, from anybody who's watching in Texas, Allstate does offer Allstate Home. And I'm going to put mom's information in the description and in the comments. So, if you guys need a
Yes.
quote, she can go ahead and quote you, okay?
Yeah.
But in that point, she's absolutely right. That is one of the biggest advantages of bundling home and auto, it's almost a 20% discount.
It's almost a 20% discount. So in some cases, it's like $900 less
Yeah.
from your home insurance.
And still, it was $12,000.
Okay, and so hers was a big bundle. Exactly.
Basically, at customer A, this person, she had a lot of property and a lot of assets and things that she needed to insure, and that's how you, and that's also, guys, what I talk about in sales. It's important to build a relationship and rapport with your customer
Because she called me directly.
because she trusted you. You had a conversation with her, and she gave you all of her things. She didn't have to do that.
And she convinced the husband.
She convinced. That's another thing. So, in objection handling, if you have a husband and wife, try and get them all in a conference call. If you absolutely cannot, have them communicate. Like, you don't want to be binding something that only the wife did and then end up canceling because the husband wasn't on board. Make sure that everybody's on board, and you're really good at that because you talk to a lot of customers that were married and you would talk to both of them.
Yeah, I had customers that just got them married, and that's amazing. And
Newlyweds.
yeah, newlyweds. You remember that?
I remember that.
And I had them both on the phone.
Yes. And she's
And
like, congratulations,
I said,
guys.
that's me. I'm a Gemini. I'm charismatic.
Very bubbly.
Very bubbly. I celebrate people. I celebrate and congratulate them. So I had them both. And so he says, let me call you with my wife. And they just moved like 2 weeks into this
Oh
new
yeah,
home.
they were renting, or they were renters.
They rented a new house.
What was it? They were existing customers and they were canceling.
He was exactly. He was an existing customer
for renting,
but she was with another company. So I was talking to him. I was talking to the husband, very young couple, Victoria's age. And so they just moved to this house 2 weeks ago. They didn't have any insurance for all the things that they brought, both of them, into the house. So I said, listen, if you bring your wife car and you do the renters of the new home, you get a bigger discount. And exactly as I told them, it happened. So it is amazing how much money you can save, sometimes even in the renewal. So have a good conversation with your insurance agent. And if you're in Texas, like Victoria said, any part of Texas, because we're licensed in the whole state, just give me a call. Just give me.
Shameless advertising.
I don't have any shame.
Let's talk about so a couple of things. I know that here in my channel I have also spoken like at the really beginning of test taking, and if we don't forget that you passed your test higher score than me and at the first try, and it took me how long?
3 months.
Three times.
Three times.
Took me three tries to pass the test. But
I'm a teacher.
So we did a video where I did a video on study tips on how to pass the test, the PNC test. The Florida test is a lot harder, but you went ahead and took the test of the state you were on, which was a little bit not as hard as Florida.
Yep.
So would you recommend people watching this to take the test of the state that they're going to be working in? Because you could live in one state like me and work in another.
But you have to talk a little bit more about that, what you have been doing, because you had to purchase. Tell them about why can you work. You have Florida, and then you purchase the Connecticut license.
Yes, it's a lot. It's a lot easier to do the test on the state that you're going to be working in, because then you have to do what I did, which was I had my Florida license, and then I had to buy a non-residential license for Connecticut. And because the state is more expensive than Florida, it cost me around $160. And versus the Florida state license that was $50, and the license here
I don't remember.
in Texas is like $50.
I think it's $56, something
55,
like that.
Something like that.
It's not
expensive.
As expensive as what she paid. One thing I'm going to say is the reason why I decided to do the Texas license is because the company that hired me, the company is in Texas. But before that, this was like magic because um, we have been studying, we're researching where to move that it will be least expensive for us to
Mm-hmm.
live and have a quality of life. I wanted, like I said, I wanted to move out of teaching into a different career
And move out of Florida.
and move out of Florida because it's very expensive. So we had thought about Texas for a long, long, long time. Everything happens for a reason. And so when I get offered the job in Texas, we have already thought, I don't know if Victoria told you the story, probably she did, that my niece said, oh, we're moving to Texas.
Well, it was more like our lease was up, so we were basically free to go, and we were the first ones here. And then eventually, yeah, she's moving next month, and kudos to her and her husband. They rented a home.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so congratulations to her. Basically, we were looking where to move that we could have quality of life and that our checks wouldn't go directly to rent.
Yes.
And Texas has kind of always been there. We just didn't back in 2020. We thought about it, but the pandemic stopped us, and then we just kept we
Going.
just kept going and really didn't think about it much until we absolutely had to, because I finally got a remote job and mom was transitioning from teaching and finding where to go. And it was kind of an enigma. It was a time where we didn't have an answer. And sometimes that is scary, but also it's a really good opportunity.
Honestly, I just follow her
She does, because
because
I'm the risk taker.
I am not. And risk adverse, like she calls me.
Risk averse.
Okay, risk averse. I was like, I wanted to come to Texas, but I like everything to, to
To
feel
pan out.
to feel in places. All
Yeah,
right.
so my cousin had talked about Austin, and I didn't really know much about it. We had looked at Houston and Dallas, and we didn't like it because um,
Asthma.
asthma for Dallas. It's one of the most contaminated cities in Texas, if you didn't know. And then hurricanes in Houston, and we're like, we got enough of those in Florida. No, thank you. So then she said Austin, and we're like, oh, let me look into Austin. And that's how everything just aligned, and we ended up in Austin. By the way, you guys, I mentioned Sebastian in my Texas video. If you guys are looking to move to Texas, I'm going to put his info down below.
He's great.
He's an amazing apartment finder, and you just got to tell him what you need,
Exactly.
and he'll find it for you, because this apartment, we wanted hardwood floors, and he got it for us. And we got a chimney.
Not only that, he got us like 6 week rent free.
Yes, 6 weeks rent free. And that was really good because mom was starting her job.
No,
So
I
we
didn't
needed
have a
that
job.
break.
I didn't because I didn't have. Okay, so let me go back to the license situation. So
Okay.
I was in Florida, and so when I discussed with the coach and I discussed with my manager, they say,
We
said,
need you to be here, she said.
and she said, why don't you just take the Texas exam? Is easier than any other. It's just fast. You're a teacher. You'll pass it. Boom. And I passed it. Okay, no problem. The situation was that because I was still in Florida, the license was not issued. And it took 5 weeks, but by miracle, the time they sent me the message, we cannot approve your license because you don't have a Texas address. And we just moved. It was our second day here in Texas.
We just moved the day before.
Exactly. So it was like magic. So the thing about it, if you are going to be working, living in one state and working in another, do what Victoria did. Take the one from your state and then just buy the license for the state you're going to be working at. Okay. In our case, because we already decided we were moving to Texas, this was the perfect situation. Victoria told me, with or without a job, mom, we're moving.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. And here I am trembling. And here I am like my stomach is hurting because my stomach hurts.
Because I told you I can cover us. And she was like, I don't know. Can you cover us? Can you do la la la? And at that point, I was, and I was actually doing decently in sales. I had 14 items under my belt when we moved. And then April happened and it was like, boom, what the heck?
But because we had those 6 weeks, and then that's what why I decided to move. Otherwise, I would like and stop and like, no, we're not going because I am all about
Feeling
feeling
secure.
financially
Hmm.
secure. Was that she said, "Well, mom, we have 6 weeks," and then we talk with management and we work out those 6 weeks. And so Victoria was able to cover while I was basically in training, and I started getting paid. So the situations are different. So if you're in her situation, go with what she did. If you are working in the state where you live, just go with my situation. Take the one in your state.
Can you talk about study tips? What did you do to study? Because I know that you had your own system of like, what was it? Color coded, I forgot the name. Color coded index cards and like two
Notebooks.
notebooks. So can you talk about how you sectioned everything? And
Okay.
on top of that, you had books and reviews, right?
So it was a process where she is like, she gave me all her index cards on
I
her
did.
handwriting, okay?
She didn't like them.
No, I did not. I did not like them
I gave
because
her my notebook. She didn't like it either. She said, "Thank you, no, thank you."
exactly, because every single person have their own way of learning. So for me, the way of learning is I have to read and write. That's the way my mom taught me, and I memorize and I relate things by writing. So
And colors,
and colors. Oh my God, colors and little stickies.
sticky notes.
And what are the tabs?
But
The
let's talk
color
about the
tabs?
colors because each color had a different
Oh,
meaning. It
yes.
was like home, dwelling, what
Yes.
was it? Auto, and then commercial. Commercial had like two sections.
Yeah. So I can.
Inland marine.
Yes. So first of all, I used the state book, and then I was reading. As I was reading, I had this notebook like this big that it was from my favorite place, Paris, and it was green, and green is the color of hope and also the color of money.
Well, color psychology.
Color psychology. So I had it. I never used it. It was with me for like 10 years. And I said, okay, it was like this thick. And I started writing. And I do color. I use pink and I use yellow. And then I use the little tabs. Okay. And
But it wasn't like it wasn't like that easy because she was working
oh,
while she was studying, and you would study in your breaks between your shit. First morning classes would end at like noon or something, and then
12:30.
12:30, and then you would have that gap until 6 o'clock, and you would go to the library
At the beginning, I will drive back, and from Miami to to the
where
city.
we lived,
Yeah,
which
which is
was
like 40
an
minutes away.
hour away from
Yeah,
Miami.
42 depending on the traffic. But it was just getting really tired. And one of my coworkers says, "What are you doing?" "I'm going to the library," and she lives the same in Miami. And I said, "Okay." So I removed myself from driving. And so what I was doing is in the middle of the day
But it
between
was grueling because you would stay the whole
all
day
from
over there in
1
Miami
until 5:45.
until 10.
When I got home, forget it. I didn't touch anything because I had to take a shower. I had to, do my things. The next day, the same. So for 2 weeks, I did that, and so I also use index card color coded. I rewrote what I needed, and I have them like she said. I had home, I had dwelling, I had auto, specialties. Um, I have for Texas law,
Oh, that's important. Very important.
marine. So I divided based on their specialties, and then so
But
I
when you did terms and you did rules, because remember, guys, what I told you about the exam is basically terms, rules, and formulas for the math
oh
part.
yes. Then not only that, and I said this is not enough. I need more practice. So I went to YouTube because Victoria gave me a
Oh, the
recommendation.
insurance exam queen. I recommend her 100%. I talked about her in my other episodes. Go ahead and check that out and check her channel out. She's fantastic.
She's fantastic, and she helped me. I use other videos that she had, but I needed more practice for the test. I use some YouTubers that are talking about the state of Texas, about the law, and then they explain it, and then they have like 5 questions based on what they explain, and then you have to answer. And I was just answering, and I wrote the question, and then I answer.
Isn't it funny how when you're taking the test, all this is so hard, but then it becomes so normalized when you're working. You're like, oh yeah, because a boat is 26 feet or more. Like it's kind of obvious after a while, and then you're like, man, I had such a hard time remembering that you needed X amount of horsepower for it to be a boat.
So yes, the Texas exam for me, because as I said to her, I just immerse myself. I love learning. I have been a teacher. My parents used to say, when are you going to stop learning? So for me, this learning
Never.
curve was natural. And as a teacher, as I said, every year you have to learn different things. Sometimes they change the novels, they change the books, and you have to read everything about it. So for me, it was just reading and taking exam practices.
So you would say that teachers, it would be easier for them to pass these kinds of exams, these license exams.
It depends. I am an English teacher and literature. So reading is part of my life. And I taught reading to um, the low learners too. So, but if you are a math teacher,
Well, low learners meaning like people who don't know the language, right?
it would be a second language learner or students that are the 25% low in reading.
So their reading isn't as fast.
Yeah, exactly. Not because they have any disability. It's just
Okay.
because some of them they can pass everything, but they don't want to do it. So they don't do it so they can be in the easiest grade. Let's just
That's another thing that
that's
we're not
another
going to talk
topic we're not going to
about.
talk about.
God. Some of your students are subscribers. So if y'all want to say hi to Dr. Farrell, you can say hi to Dr. Farrell in the comments. So let's to close out, I wanted to ask you a couple things. So we wanted to know a little bit more of the commission structure and what kind of benefits you have in your agency because it's different from mine. And what are some expectations? Because not all agencies are the same, but I do talk about to my community that they should look out for good benefits. And could you speak on that?
Yeah, the reason why I decided for this company was because I was looking for, first of all, base. I knew the base was going to be low. I knew it right from the start. That's why I needed Victoria to know that, because I wasn't going to be able to help her as much as I used to. And but then they tell you after 3 months, then we can
Raise it.
raise it, and still not the amount of money that you use as a teacher to make between one job and the other and the tutoring. But the potential to make money, and if you look in LinkedIn, most of the Allstate people are making in the 100,000s, 80,000, 100,000. But this is not something that happens overnight.
No.
I'm not making that kind of money yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably
Neither
going to
am
take
I.
me maybe 6 months, a year, or maybe 2 years. I don't know.
It'll take us a couple, at least a year to get our boots on the ground, and then next year we'll be seeing a lot more money.
Well, yeah, and we'll talk about it. So that's one. The other thing is that she offered me benefits that most companies don't. She gave me insurance, medical insurance, dental, vision, and life insurance, plus PTO.
And why is life insurance very important?
Well, because most companies as a teacher, they give you the life insurance. But another thing that we lose focus us is that when we work in a company and we're ready to leave the company, take that life insurance policy and convert it into Allstate or convert it into another insurance carrier. So you don't lose that benefit. And I didn't think about it.
Yep, that's
So
something that a lot of customers don't think about. Having a buyout option or a conversion option inside the policy, even though if you have to pay a little bit more, have that review. If you have a life insurance policy, have your financial advisor review it every year or 2 years or so to make sure that if you have it through your job to have a buyout or a conversion. Because why? Because the day that you're not here, what about your loved ones? What about, what your assets, your home, and all of those kind of things that people don't think about it in life insurance. They don't know the benefits of it.
Especially when they're young, that's the best
Oh
time.
my God. I was talking to an 18-year-old person the other day. I told them, listen, you are 18. This is the perfect time. That's gonna cost you what it costs a frappuccino. So
Yes.
please lock in the rate, because the day, if you think when it's important to you, you're 30 and then you got to pay not even 30, probably 50, and then it's going to be like 100.
300, no, it's going to be like 300 or above.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you like 70, they're only going to talk about the funeral
Final
financial,
expense.
final, your
Yeah,
final day's expense. We're not into the life insurance yet.
not yet.
Not yet. I don't feel prepared for it yet. Victoria is probably going to get the license on that in the near future. But we do have agents that we can connect you. And in my case, and in Victoria's case, she has helped customers that speak Spanish, and we serve as translators. And in my company, I take care of them. Dime cómo te puedo ayudar. And then so I help them, and then they come back with other products, and that's what have been my experience at the moment. That
And they refer the referrals. Oh my God.
you're a customer already and you refer me someone, she will send you a $25 Visa gift
Gift
card.
card. We do it too, by the way. Anybody in Connecticut would like to refer me a client, we do $25 gift cards. Speaking of which, we have been talking about different ways to get customers, not only leads. Can we talk about that?
Okay,
It's
so
old school marketing that we're talking about, and not many people are doing it. And if you're a new agent and new to the area, because we are new to the area, this is very important to start building your network.
yes,
And we already know a couple people. We know Sebastian. We know his mom, which coming soon, I'm going to interview her
she's a
too.
realtor.
She's a realtor. Yes, that's a very interesting. I would love to have conversation with them both, because they are similar to us, where we are both insurance agents and they are both realtors.
Exactly.
So it's kind of funny. So I want to see how that interaction goes. But basically, we're new to the area. You want to do a couple things that you told your boss, and she sent you a box of merch. So let's talk about that. What are you planning to do, or what are you doing already? You started.
Yeah,
You already started.
I started this week on Saturdays. So what I did, my mentor here, this is my mentor number one. The one at work is mentor number two. So she says, Mom, you're losing opportunity. We're meeting so many people. So the person that does my hair, the other hairstylist. So I decided to do a small bags with candies and with some of the
The merch.
the merchandise that my boss sent me. But this Saturday, so I had to go to the bank, and I
You
dressed.
made your first referral partner.
Yes.
Guys, remember what I said about referral partners. Who are they? Mortgage lenders.
Mortgage lenders, realtors,
Banks.
banks, apartment locators.
So let's talk about this. So you met with the manager of the bank, a mortgage lender, was she?
Okay, so I went to my bank, and I needed to do a transaction, and I'm new to the area, so I went to her. And it happened that she's the manager, and it's a small branch. So I told her, listen, and she says, but where are you coming from? I said, I'm coming from Florida. We have been here just like 2 months. And I said, well, I got this job as an insurance agent. And then I pull out my business card. There you go. This is my business card. And then I asked her, well, by the way, who do you
Who do you use?
who do you use for your insurance, your home insurance and auto insurance? And she said, well, we have this company that is in-house. And then she says, but you know what? I also work with another set of companies, and we need more than one
Insurance agent.
insurance proposal. So we can select
Oh,
the
they
best
need more than one proposal.
proposal.
Okay.
And then we can benefit from each other. And I said, well, it happens that I have a customer that she's going to buy an auto on August. And so we can work together because
Because you
she's
can
gonna
give you the she
she's,
can do the auto loan.
she could do the auto loan and I'm going to do the insurance because that sale is mine. So that's how I did the connection. And then I went to the teller and then we were talking about something different. And then I said, by the way, I'm new to the area. Here it is, my business card. And then I told her, the manager, I told her about the $25, but she cannot,
She can't accept it, but the teller can.
the teller can. So I gave her my card, and then that's the one that says, it doesn't matter, I'll help you. And I said, well, you know what? Christmas is coming.
Stack
And
them up.
keep that money for Christmas, things like that. So I started it, and I'm planning to do it, like going and visiting some dealers,
Dealerships.
some dealerships.
And you also you went to the Brazilian market and you like to buy Brazilian coffee.
Mhm. And other
Tres
things.
Corazon. And then the owners of the market are realtors.
Yes.
And she had talked to a longtime employee that knows them. And you got their cards and you're gonna make that contact because you have like
Yeah, I'm gonna call. I'm gonna send them emails this week.
you have like a contact through the lady, right?
Mhm.
Something like that. So that already both of them, the husband and wife, are realtors, commercial real estate.
Yes.
That's a big deal because of commercial insurance. So you can also benefit from that. And you could also refer any customer who has a business or is looking for real estate space, I mean, commercial space, to them. So it's a referral partner.
Yes. Also, I left my last 5 business cards there.
It's right there.
I said, "Can I leave them?" They have the little thing that they put business cards, and I asked the person at the counter, "Can I leave my cards here?" And it was my last 5, and I said, "There's nothing to lose." Boom, I put it there. And everywhere I go, we went to a juice place, and I said, "Can I leave?" And I
Oh
left.
yeah, she left some business cards at the smoothie place. And then lastly, I want to ask you, what plans do you have, if any, for the future? Where do you see yourself going in this career?
Well, first of all, learn everything that I can on how to sell. It's selling, but for me, it's a service because everybody needs insurance. It's like food and healthcare. Everybody needs to insure a home, insure their belongings, insure their house, their boats, you name it. And so as I go through this process of learning and then also get into a higher bracket of income, um, my end goal, and I believe Victoria's too, is that we can start our own agency.
I have never said that.
I said it, and I hope Victoria too, that we can start our own agency.
We're going to put a pin on that and think about that later. There's a lot that goes into having your own agency. And if you guys want to know about all that, I am not an expert, but I do know 2 YouTubers that are very great at that. That's Nick Saka. He's an
Yes.
all-state agency owner. He talks about how to become an agency owner. And then there's Chris, the insurance guy. He has his own independent branch. So go ahead and check those out. I'll put them in the description below or in the comments below. But finally, what advice would you have for someone who's just starting out and just transitioning and they are
Oh
very
God.
scared? They have the same insecurities that you had, the same risk aversion, the same fears of financial security. Someone that was in your shoes like 4 or 5 months ago, where we were, what would you say to them?
I would say that every change brings a lot of fear. Um, I am lucky that I have my partner here, mi compañera del chilingui, um, that said to me, guess what, mom? Whether you have a job or not, we're moving. You can find a job whenever. It doesn't matter. So if you have a support mechanism like I do, it will be easier. You have a partner, a husband, a daughter. You need to have a support system because it's very scary.
What if you don't have a support system?
Something my dad said today, Do you remember what he said today?
No.
About that when you are going to do something.
Oh yeah, he said, risk is scary, but who doesn't risk it, there's nothing to gain. It's just the
Exactly.
same in Spanish, el que no arriesga no
No
gana.
gana.
So if you don't take a risk, you're not gonna win. It's what it
Exactly.
means.
Exactly. And so he said it. He was very wise today. I was very surprised. We just happened to talk to
The
him.
wisdom on grandpa.
Because he's normally very jovial and he's
And
a
joking,
joker, but
yeah.
he never he's not like talking seriously. So today I was like, wow, he's talking serious. So yes, el que no arriesga no gana. If you don't risk, you're not gonna gain. Even with and I had done this many years in my lifetime when she was a child. But I guess as you get older, you get more insecure. My stomach will turn and I just risk it. Now, as I got older, I'm more risk averse, like she mentioned it, but you have to take the risk.
So when you say your stomach would turn, you mean like you would be afraid and you would just do it anyway?
Exactly. And I
Because
will
for
do it.
her, it's her stomach.
Yes. For me, it's my stomach.
For me, it's my heart. It goes boop, 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 boop.
Exactly. I start feeling like, oh my God. I mean, and then suddenly we start packing and putting things in the storage. Like when I moved here, the same way. She packed me up
I did
and she moved
from
me.
from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I was this.
She did not want to move.
I did not want to move. I felt secure.
I called all the moving companies. I did everything. I packed the boxes. I paid the movers. We went. We're gone.
I just did.
We gave away a lot of things.
We gave away we did now. We just had to start all over again. We don't have that much here. Okay. We started all over again. I never fear starting all over because I have been, this is like my third or my fourth career change. It's just that as you get older, your sense of security, it's very strong. Okay. Not like when you're young, like her, like Sebastian, you just boom, you throw yourself, through the wall.
Sebastian, she threw you in here too.
You throw yourself to the wall. So that's the difference, okay? But if you have to do it, just go ahead, close your eyes, and go for it, okay? We came with you saw the video, we came with my car full of everything that could put in there. We left a lot of things, okay? But we are happy. Austin, it's really welcome. Every time we say that we are newcomers, I love it because people are like, welcome to Austin. Welcome to Texas. Oh my God, I have never heard that in Florida. Never in my life.
I was always saying, I'm new, and they're like, okay.
Another foreigner. Because even though we're Puerto Rican, so many people don't understand that.
If you guys want to see an episode about what we like about Austin or what we don't like pros and cons, let us know in the comments because we have been racking up a little bit of a list. And we also have a list of of places we want to see.
Absolutely. We just like newcomers, and you have to get adjusted at the beginning. And we are getting adjusted at the moment, little by little. It probably takes us a year.
Oh, probably more. I mean, this place is huge.
Yeah, Texas is so big. And
Texas, Austin.
Austin is huge. The north and the south, and oh my God, it's amazing. It's beautiful. The people are very welcoming.
Keep Austin weird.
Yes,
keep Austin weird, y'all, for real, because Austin is just such a laid back, magical place where you find a kindred spirits and you everywhere, and just they're very welcoming, and you don't feel judged. You feel right at home, very cozy. People are just so nice, so welcoming, so warm, And then the funny thing is, I saw a meme on Instagram the other day where there's one guy who lives here in Austin. He was like, and the elephant in the room is that everyone from Austin is not from Austin. On that note, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you have any questions for me or for my mom, please go ahead and leave the comments below and tell us where you are in your journey. What are you looking for? Did we answer your questions? Is there anything else that we didn't touch on? Go ahead and leave us in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow She is a Beast wherever you listen to podcasts.
Love you.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.